Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 112. It is we read it and said it volume 8 featuring a special guest, Megan, my friend. Say hi, Megan.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
And it's fun because she's not really familiar with Reddit.
No,
So I got all kinds of stories for you.
I'm
But
excited.
before I start, I want to give a shout out to Sarah with an H. Last name starts with an O. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for joining the Patreon. I appreciate you. Anyway, it's been like a year since I've done one of these, and I just wanted to have fun lately. And the next episode that comes out will be Mothman because everybody seemed down for it. I don't know.
Very cool.
Okay. I kind of glanced through these stories, but I don't know them all, so they're going to be just as much of a surprise to me as it is to you.
Okay.
This one came from the subreddit Creepy Encounters. And the title of it is I Think I Might Have Encountered Some Sort of Killer. And this is their story. I recently went on a date with a guy from my school who I met on a dating app. He seemed super sweet and charming over text, so I agreed to go on a date with him, especially after two friends told me they knew him from a class where he was a funny guy. We go to a small, pretty prestigious university, which also made me sure that he would be normal. He was supposed to meet me at 6 to go on a picnic, but ended up picking me up at 8:30. He texted me to reschedule to 8 and ended up showing at that time. He drove me to his apartment, and although uncomfortable, I agreed to go in because of everything I already knew about him. The apartment was only lit with one candle and a small glowing light on the floor, which didn't add much. It was a multiple bedroom apartment that he lived in alone, which made it even more odd. We talked and ate some food, and he seemed nervous and uneasy for most of it. He suddenly switched the conversation to our deepest, darkest secrets and asked if I'd ever seriously thought about killing anyone.
Hmm.
After I said no, he made up a story about being in the Navy and having to bomb a ship and killing 5 people. When I was unsure how to respond, he sort of just passed it off as a joke and said that he has seriously thought about killing someone else, his ex's current boyfriend. I was extremely uncomfortable at this point and wanted to leave, and he agreed to drive me home. Before we left, he said he wanted to show me something and pulled out a rifle that he pointed in my direction. When I
Hmm.
got startled, he remained eerily calm and said that he got it for hunting, but couldn't think of even killing an animal. We left, and I got back to my friend's place safely. Everyone I've told has been flabbergasted about how the date went, and I can't shake the feeling that something was off about him and it's creeping me out. And to clarify, I mean that something more sinister about him. Any thoughts on this would be appreciated.
I have a lot to say.
Say it, girl.
All right. So, my background is in forensic investigation. My background is also in interrogations and so on and so forth, right?
This was
I
perfect for you.
I also have a PhD in philosophy. So, let's talk about this. Let's dissect this.
Yes.
Anyone that is online dating, please tell your friends where you're going, who you're
Mm-hmm.
going with, and never get picked up from your house. A friend's house, okay, that's fine, but I would get picked up in a public place or meet them there. That's
Oh my
probably your
God,
best
that's so
bet.
smart.
And I mean, me, I'm way over the top with the survival stuff, but
Hmm.
even still, just be smart about it. Let people know who you're with, let them know your name, do the screenshot thing. You never know who you're meeting. And this is the way of the times. Like, this is it. This is what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I get that. I'm single and I understand. Um, but the other thing too is there is a great book called The Gift of Fear, written by Dr. Becker, and it's one of my favorite books. I teach self-defense classes and firearms classes and all sorts of things, and this was recommended to me by one of my BJJ instructors. It's excellent. It talks about your intuition. At any time you feel like you are your gut instinct, listen to it because it's going to keep you safe. That's why you have it.
I'm
So
surprised she let him drive her home too.
I wouldn't have, I probably would have Ubered or said, hey, I'm not feeling well, and had somebody get me.
Yes.
There's 1,000 things I would have done. And then afterward, I would have reported it. Because if he's talking silly like that, and then he was in the Navy, so he's had
Hmm.
at least some sort of weapons training. He knows better than to flag somebody. You know what I mean? And then to talk about death and killing people, but I can't kill an animal? No, something's wrong. And I would
Yeah.
definitely report it for sure.
Have you heard, and I've heard this maybe on other podcasts, I'm not sure, but people will make a book like If I Was Murdered book for their friend. And it has like a sample of their DNA in there, like all this crazy stuff, like their hair, their picture, like just things about them. I don't know. It's not really a bad idea if you're super paranoid about getting
No, and
murdered
we
one
have
day.
those. We have the kits. We have the kits for the, like, my daughter has one. We used to give them out. Part of the school that I worked for a college, and we used to do the crime scene kit, or not the crime scene kits. We used to do crime scene days, and the kids would come out and we would do the fingerprint kits. Part of
Yes.
that was we'd send home the DNA kit with the families, and they would put it in their freezer. So
Wow.
in today's day and age, you can't be too careful. And I hate saying that. I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, she's such a survivalist and she's got, a basement full of goods and she's ready for World War 18. And no, that's not how it goes. But at the same time, be mindful and be smart about it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Do you remember when, well, like back in the day when you would talk to anybody on the internet, that was like taboo and that was weird. And that
Yeah.
is the way that things happen now. There are dating apps. This is how people meet because they're working so much or whatever. And then she thought she was safe because he was like apparently mutual friends with her friends. I don't know. Let's see what some people have said.
Okay.
Um, Somebody said, please learn about keeping yourself safe on early dates. Always public places. Letting someone know all your plans. Have a way to get there and back that doesn't depend on him. Don't let them know your address. That's like basically everything you said.
Yep. Textbook.
Um, Somebody said, but what if there's free candy?
Depends on what kind.
Somebody said, sucks to be you. Mine has puppies as well. They're fun to play with while I wait for the candy to be replaced. It is rather
Oh.
dark in here, though. Anyways, yeah. And this person also says to trust your intuition. Um, our empathy and brain picks up more on cues than our logical mind can.
Yep.
So there you go.
Hmm.
That was crazy. I'll move on because I think that was good advice. Let's see what I got for us next. Okay. So this one came from the subreddit Neighbors from Hell.
Ooh.
It's
I've,
called
I've had some of these in the past.
Haven't We All?
Did I write this one?
I don't know. Let's see. From Megan. No. Um, it's called Neighbors Started Waving Passive Aggressively from Window Every Time She Sees Me. So it says, I'm so confused. Been living in my apartment for 2 years. Right across from my kitchen window is the window of one of the people living in the building next to mine to their living room. When it's dark, I can see them sitting on the couch facing my window because my side is slightly elevated so I can look through the whole living room. Hard to explain, always awkward. The distance is too long to have a conversation from the windows without screaming or so. Last week, the woman of the pair suddenly started waving passive aggressively every time I appear in the window. She's just laying there on the sofa as usual, but waving. The husband sits still. Honestly, I don't know how to react, been ignoring it. She legit waves every time I appear at the window. I already keep my blinds closed because I'm creeped out, but of course, I have to open it after cooking, which is when I see her waving. What should I do? Keep ignoring? It's just creepy and unnecessary. Try to talk to them? I've never actually seen them outside. We are not like next door neighbors, but just one of many people living in the apartment buildings here. They are both elderly. I'm younger. I think about waving way too much. It truly bothers me. Is it her revenge because she feels like I'm watching them too much? There's no other way as it is right across from my window. Edit. Many of you said to put privacy film up. Now, the blinds on this window are always closed as she creeps me out with her waving since last week. So I only see her now when I open the window, but she still keeps doing the aggressive waving. Hasn't she got what she wanted if she felt watched by me before due to the lack of blinds? But she still continues.
What's a passive aggressive wave? Like hot, like this, like is that a passive aggressive wave?
Maybe. I wish you guys could see Megan because she's like really fast waving, like really fast.
That's what I do to
Like you're
people when they
really
stare at me
excited
when
to
I'm
see
driving.
somebody. Yeah. Like, oh my God, hi.
I
That's the
know.
wave that you're doing.
It is. That's when I see you at work. That's what I do.
I love it.
But no, I mean, I guess if the blind is only popped for a second while she's cooking, first of all, she must be a terrible cook. But
Yeah.
if it's only popped for a second, why is this woman? I mean, my neighbor used to, I don't know, Nayoka. This is just
You know
strange.
what somebody said?
Tell me.
Somebody said, cover your eyes when you open and close the window, passive aggressively.
I would write notes on a notebook paper and hold them in the window. Don't look at me then, or something. You know what I mean? Like, turn your eyes away. I burned the toast again.
It's just funny to me how she kept stressing how uncomfortable she is. Just never open that window. I think that's what I would do, people. Just don't open that window.
Write a note that says, "Don't open your window, or your smoke alarm will be going off too."
Somebody said, get yourself a small notebook and start making notes as you look out the window.
Oh, I would. Do you remember when you would drive in the car and we had those boards? Do you remember those when we were
Yeah.
like kids and you would like flip it and one would say like F you and then the other one would say like your tire's flat or something? And we had those all the time when we would travel. And that's all I can think of.
Oh my God. This is
Keep your
so
eyes to
funny.
yourself.
Somebody said, I just came here to see if someone would tell me what passive aggressive waving
See?
means.
Is it the Forrest Gump? Like, what do we got going on here? I need a definition.
All right. That was just fun. I just, she seems so stressed out about this.
I know. I don't think I would care too much.
Oh man, most of these people are just sarcastic with her too. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, so this subreddit is Paranormal Encounters, and
Ooh.
it's called I Found My Old Diary and Something is Wrong with It. Okay, so I don't usually post here, but I need to tell someone because I feel like I'm losing my mind. This started a week ago when I found my old diary from when I was 10. I hadn't thought about it in years, but I came across it in a dusty box in my attic while I was clearing out some stuff for a garage sale. I was excited at first, like a piece of my childhood. I started flipping through the pages, reading about my fifth grade drama, crushes, and random little notes about my day. But then I found something weird. There's an entry in the diary that I don't remember writing at all. It's dated March 16th, 2011, which would have been the day after my 11th birthday. It starts off normal, me talking about the party and the gifts that I got. Then it takes a turn. There's a section where I wrote, quote, Mom says I shouldn't go in the attic anymore. She says it's not safe, but I keep hearing the whispers up there. Last night they called my name, end quote. I froze when I read that. I didn't remember anything like that happening, but the writing was mine, or at least it looked like it. After that entry, the diary goes back to being normal, talking about school and friends. I tried to brush it off as a weird childhood memory or maybe my imagination running wild. But then things started happening around the house, little things at first. I'd hear creaks in the attic above my room at night. I figured it was just the house settling, but then I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate footsteps. 2 nights ago, it got worse. I woke up around 2 a.m. to the sound of something moving upstairs. Not just footsteps, but dragging, like something heavy was being pulled across the floor. My heart was pounding, but I forced myself to go up there and check. When I opened the attic door, the dragging stopped, but the air felt thick, like someone was watching me. Yesterday, I decided to read more of the diary, and I found another entry that I definitely don't remember writing. It said, "He's in the attic again. He wants me to come back. He says he's lonely, but I don't want to go up there anymore. Mom says it's dangerous, but he keeps calling my name. He knows I'm scared." Here's the thing. My mom never said anything about the attic being dangerous. In fact, we rarely used it when I was a kid. So where did this come from? And who the hell is he? Last night, I woke up to whispers, not creaks or footsteps this time, actual whispers. I swear to God, I heard my name, just like in the diary. But when I went to check, the attic was empty. I don't know what to do. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing it. I thought about burning the diary, but something is stopping me. I keep thinking about maybe I'll find answers if I keep reading, but I'm also terrified of what I might find. Has anyone else experienced anything like this? Could this be some sort of childhood trauma resurfacing? Or is it possible for an old diary to somehow change? I need advice.
This is interesting. First of all, what do you do, Nyoka? Do you journal? I journal.
I start them all the time and then I stop. I don't know why. I wish I did.
Do you get rid of them when you haven't journaled it in a while? Do you get rid of them? Because I get rid of mine when I fill them up.
No, I probably have random ones somewhere.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know. I feel like if you this is me being weird though. I
No,
feel
tell
like
me.
if you start putting words into the universe, that's a communication of sorts, right?
Hmm.
And if I don't know what is up in this attic, I wrote down the date. I don't really see a significance with the date or anything, but to me, I would keep the diary because I would want to know what it is.
I would have to know
And
too.
and I would have to put like something up in the attic, whether it be like a recording device. Like I would every time it would call my name, I would talk back to it. So I don't know if you know, but when I was married, this actually happened to me and my ex-husband.
Ooh, tell.
And he was a musician, so he was a drummer, and he's the first one in and the last one out all the time, so he wouldn't be home until 4:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And one night it was myself and the dog, and we were sitting on the couch, and I can't remember what I was watching, but it was probably like 9:30 at night. And I hear the door knob jiggle, the front door, well, it's the side door jiggle. And the dog got up and went to the door, and I thought, oh, Dean must be home early, but he's got a gig tonight. So I'm like, well, maybe it was canceled, like whatever. So I go to the door to help him load in. And I go to the door, he's not there. And I'm like, what is going on? So Piper and I go back over, we sit down on the couch again, watching TV like nothing, and we hear it again. And Piper gets up and he starts barking now. So I go out, I'm looking around with the flashlight. There's nobody there. We lived on an acre out in Alexandria, so it's like countryside. There's nobody around us.
Yeah.
For an acre at least. But there was nobody there. Nobody was there. And I ended up getting my recorder because this was when I would teach. I ended up getting my recorder and I sat it down next to me on the couch. And Piper was sitting next to me, but Piper was creeped out. Like Piper was acting, I want to say neurotic, but like he was an Australian Shepherd. He was very chill, like whatever.
Hmm.
But he was like acting extremely neurotic. Like, is dad home? Is he home? No, he's not home. Something else is here. He got up on the back of the couch and would sit there and just watch behind me.
Oh,
That's
that's
not where the door
creepy.
is. That's not where the door is. There's just a wall behind. I'm like, what is going on? So, of course, I walk back out into the hallway and I was like, is somebody here? Is anybody here? And I don't hear anything. So I sit back down, whatever, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play this back. So I let it play for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, sat back down on the couch and I played it back. And it says, is anybody here with me? Is there anybody here? And you just hear, Megan.
Oh my
And
God.
the hair on my arms, like, you know me, I'm pretty like nothing really bothers me, right? Like I'm hardcore. I can take care of this, right? The hair on my arms were standing up. I was freaking out. I called Dean, and luckily he hadn't gone on yet. His gig started at 10 and it was like 9:45. I call him and I said, "When are you coming home?" And he goes, "I won't be home until 4:30." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I need to talk to you. Please wake me up." So I left the recorder on the kitchen table. And I said, "Play me when you come in." And he played it and he woke me up and he goes, "What was that?" He goes, "Are you joking me?" I said, "Dean, I am not joking you. There was something in the house." So then we ended up hiring the paranormal investigators from Ohio and to come into the house, which I don't think they ever found anything. But yes, that is a true story and it's still on that recorder to this day.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
There is have you ever messed with a one of those ghost spirit boxes? It
Yes.
like goes like through all the the radio stations really fast or whatever.
Yes.
So there's this show I've been watching called Hellier, and it's on Amazon Prime, and it's um people investigating not just hauntings, but they investigate like alien type stuff, Bigfoot type stuff, whatever. But they're doing a lot of investigations in the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky. And one of the experiments that they do, I was like, this is so fascinating. So they use one of those spirit boxes with a noise canceling headset on. So they can't hear anything except for the spirit box. And someone that doesn't have a headset on, they're just sitting there, will ask questions. And it was just so neat to see if the conversation was relevant and the responses. It was wild. Like, I think that we should get a spirit box and do this stuff.
Oh, I think we should too. Do you know how many historical places are around this area? Like just alone, there's so many things that we could just go and sit in, the middle of something. There's the one up by the tomb up towards Delhi too.
Oh,
That's super cool. It's got a graveyard there, and they actually exhumed bodies at one point in time from UC, and it actually was the president's. I think it was his son, so it would have been I think his uncle. But
oh
they're
my
all buried
gosh.
up there. But that happened, and that story is on one of the placards up there. It's one of my favorite places to go because it's all well done and it's all well preserved. But the actual graveyard is still there and everything, like the original graveyard.
Oh, that
So we
would be
could
so cool.
it would be cool to check it out and just kind of chill out there and see. But
Yes,
yeah.
it would. Yes, it would. This is my advice to this girl. Maybe it is like reliving her childhood trauma because when we have trauma, especially when we're young, we tend to block it out and we won't remember. And this triggered it. That's my guess. So the first thing I would do is definitely finish reading that diary. I would have to know. It would kill me not to know. I would have to know. And then you invite a friend over and don't tell them anything about it and send them up in the attic and see what happens. No, just kidding. You don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe get some sage and cleanse that bitch. Like, I don't know. Let me see if anyone says anything worthwhile. Somebody said, if this story is true, I'm frightened. If you made it up, I'm filled with admiration. Um, did you ask your mom if she even told you not to go up there? Maybe you don't remember her saying that.
That's a good one. Get validation from the mother.
Exactly. She didn't respond to it, so I can't answer that. Um, this sounds like creative writing, but I'd also watch the movie. Somebody said you should move your bed into the attic and sleep there on top of the covers. Be sure to let your foot dangle over the side of the bed in the open air. Lights need to be off. People are hilarious.
But that's what I would do. I would say, "Hey, Naoka, let me borrow your video camera."
They said you also need to keep whispering, please, over and over again until you fall asleep.
Start playing your records backwards.
Oh my God. That one was fun too. Oh, that's good. Okay, let's see what else I have here. See, I only like skimmed through these, like, oh, this would be interesting. And then I emailed it to myself. So I don't know everything. Okay. This one is also creepy encounters. I don't know if I've done a creepy encounter, but this is creepy encounters. And it says the title is I do DoorDash as a side gig. And months ago, someone was in my backseat.
Oh.
Right? I used to do DoorDash on the side just for some extra cash. Nothing too crazy until a few months ago when something happened that I still can't stop thinking about. And to be honest, I haven't done a single delivery since. It was around 11 p.m. and I was finishing up my last order for the night. The delivery was in a quiet, upscale LA neighborhood. Nothing out of the ordinary. I pull up, leave the car running like I always do, grab the
Mm.
food, and drop it off. Super normal, no weird vibes from the customer or anything. But as I walk back to my car, something feels off. I can't explain it, but the air felt heavier, like I could sense something was wrong before I even got to the door. I get in the driver's seat, close the door, and glance in the rear view mirror. That's when I see him. There's a guy sitting in my back seat, just sitting there, hoodie pulled low over his face,
Mm.
completely still. My heart stopped. I was frozen, staring at him through the mirror, trying to figure out how the hell he got in my car. I managed to stammer out, "Can I help you?" And that's when he leans forward just a little, and I could finally see his eyes. They were wide and bloodshot, like he hadn't slept in days. He leans back again and in the calmest voice says, "Drive." I don't know why, but I did. I started driving, my mind racing, trying to figure out what to do. He didn't say anything else, just sat there completely calm while I drove through these dark streets. And I'm just freaking out inside, thinking, this is it. This is how I'm going to get robbed or worse. Then he tells me to turn down a side street. It's dark, barely any street lights, and I'm just thinking, this is where it's going to go down. But right as we approach a gas station, well lit, a few people around, I slam on the brakes, throw the car in park, and jump out screaming for help. The gas station clerk runs out, and I'm yelling that there's a guy in my back seat. But when we go back to the car, it's empty. The guy was gone. No sign of him anywhere. He just vanished. I have no idea how he got out so fast or where he went, but I didn't care. I got back in my car, locked the doors, and drove straight home. I've replayed that night over and over in my head, and it still doesn't make sense. That was months ago, and I haven't touched the DoorDash app since. I don't know if I ever will. It's not worth risking something like that happening again.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's creepy, but why are we leaving our cars running as we're, I don't know, man. I just feel like you're asking for it. And I hate saying that out loud, but I feel like, we need to take safety precautions here so people can't enter your vehicle if it even happened that way. I don't know. Maybe they leave it
Yeah.
locked while it's running. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know that I
I
would
don't
have
know.
driven. I don't know. And that's another thing too. Like when I teach the firearms classes, we always talk about, what people would do and
Hmm.
what you think you're going to do, but there's you can freeze too. You don't have to fight, you can freeze, you can submit. There's a thousand things you can do
Yeah.
psychologically and physiologically, but man, I don't know. I don't know that I would have allowed anything like that to happen if it was real, if it
Yeah.
wasn't, a paranormal thing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm that person that locks every door behind me.
Me too. And the second you get in it, you lock it.
Yes, as soon
I
as I get in
also
my car, I don't care where I'm at.
I
I'm
also
locking
check
it.
the vehicle too. I mean, I
Yeah.
check everything. But, situational awareness is one of my top things that I'm always thinking about anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously there's a difference between self-awareness and being paranoid. I'm definitely not paranoid, but I would like to think that something like that couldn't happen to us. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we are self-aware. I don't know.
At least she thought to do what she did at the gas station. She
Yes.
saw that opportunity and she took it. But
Yes, for
this
sure.
reminds me of, isn't there an urban legend about being at a gas station or doing something, someone slips in the back seat of your car,
Yes.
something. I
Yes.
don't know. That's no thanks. No thanks.
Yep.
Um, Someone said something similar happened to me. I got off work super late one night and closed up the building with one other person. I used to park behind the building, and when I made it to the end of the alley, I realized there was a man in my car. He was obviously on drugs and tweaking, but I was all alone at like midnight and I didn't know what to do. Luckily, my job required me to be armed at all times, so I had to pull out my gun and scream at him to F off.
So there are some things too, like I mean, we just had a cousin of mine pulled her car back into her driveway, lives in a very upscale neighborhood,
Mhm.
pulls her car back into the driveway. It's running. She runs inside to grab her bags, comes back out, and the car's stolen. You know what I mean? Like this can happen.
Yeah.
Um, you know where we park in the underneath the viaduct there, the 7175
It
viaduct.
freaks me out where y'all park. Just
Yeah.
saying.
And I mean, it's not, it there's only been two times that I did feel like unsafe. And I went up to the county and I told the Homeland Security and I told them. But at the same time, it's like, again, it's that asking for it. You're in that situation. You're putting many people in that situation. Can we, you know, have call boxes? Can we have a crosswalk? Can we have, we've asked for those things. But I think it's just, again, making sure that you have the tools necessary to be able to combat some of these things. I don't know.
No, you're
Um,
right. And people think this can't happen to me, but it can.
Correct. And it can. It very well can,
Yeah.
and drugs is prevalent here as it is everywhere, but it's definitely prevalent here. And, when somebody's hopped up on something, they're not in their right mind.
No.
So
And maybe, this makes me think I should be carrying my mace at all times. And whatever brand mace that Rob got me, if you use it and you have a police report about it and you submit it to that company, they replace it for free.
that's nice. Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Damsel in defense is
I think
is
that's what it
one.
is.
Yeah.
It
They
might
they
be
will
that
replace it.
company.
They'll replace it if you use it, and then every year you should be replacing your mace. Every year, no matter if you use it or not.
Oh, I
You should
didn't
be
know that.
replacing. Yep. Some mace are a one-time use and that's it too.
Uh,
So let's
okay.
test it out, guys, and see how far it shoots, and then you're screwed because it's a one-time use. So
Mhm. See,
yeah,
that
just
would
be
be a
careful.
great solution to this issue is some
Yeah,
mace.
yeah. Well, another thing that Damsel in Defense had, I don't know if I'm allowed to make plugs on here, but
I
Damsel
don't
in
care.
Defense
Yeah.
has one that it has a chip in it that alerts your emergency contacts. So if
What?
you
It
use
does?
it, yes, if you use it, I think
I
it's
wonder if
roughly
mine
80
has that.
bucks
Oh,
and
no, I
it's
don't have that one.
worth it. If you press that button, it alerts your emergency contacts and it
Mhm.
gives them your location.
Interesting. Now, I remember, like, I've heard things where you should be on your phone or at least pretending to talk to somebody when you're walking to your car at night. And then I've heard that that's also a really bad idea, that you need to seem very aware of your surroundings. I don't know what the solution is to that either. Do you?
Well, remember when we took those classes together and he taught us to use our cell phones as a weapon? You can actually
Yes,
hold the phone in your hand and get them in the jugular or in the eye or in the ear.
that's true.
Any
Yes.
soft tissue on the face, you can use
Mhm.
your phone for that. But here's the deal. I never carry my keys and my phone in my purse. I don't carry a purse. That's why I don't carry a purse. But everyone likes to put all their crap in their purse. Well, that's
Hmm.
what the people want usually from you is your purse. So
Yeah.
keep your keys and your phone in your pocket. Okay. Your hands are free.
Hmm.
Again, you want to be aware. And then that way you're able to just kind of throw your purse in case somebody, wants it. They want the money from you. So you just kind of chuck your purse over to them and say, okay, here you go. And you've got your phone in your hand and you've got your keys still. That way you're not left stranded.
I need to
So
brush up on this stuff.
yeah.
It's been a minute. Um, yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one. Let's see what I got here. Oh, this one seems odd. This is a creepy encounter as well. And it's titled, Did I Just See My Neighbor's Wife After 3 Years or His Hostage? Yeah, I don't know what to think about this. All right. My neighbor Tom rents his house and doesn't seem to work. He just sits on his porch smoking pot most days. We've always kept to ourselves, but when I moved in 3 years ago, he introduced me to his wife, Susie. She didn't say anything and quickly went back inside. Sounds like me. I run in my house. All right.
Are you passively aggressively waving at your neighbor at this point in time?
Absolutely why I'm running in my house. After that, I only ever saw different women coming and going. So I figured Susie was either made up or not really his wife since I never saw her again. But today, for the first time in 3 years, I saw Susie outside. She looked like she hasn't seen sunlight in years, pale, mentally unwell, and staring at the ground. She might even be disabled. As I pulled into my driveway, Tom quickly rushed her back inside. Now, I'm really concerned that she's been kept inside all this time. Am I overreacting, or is this something I should be worried about? Also, Tom has several vehicles, but only one is ever at the house at a time. A beat up red Tahoe, a nice truck, a van, and a newer silver Tahoe. It changes depending on the day or week which one he's driving. I always found it odd, especially since it seems like he doesn't work, and I initially wondered why Susie never had a vehicle. I have an update, and it says, based on everyone's feedback, I have decided to call for a wellness check tomorrow on my way out of town. I've since investigated a bit more and looked up the license plates on
There we
two
go.
of the four vehicles he rotates out, and neither match the vehicles that they're on.
Yep, that's a problem. I would have ran the license plates right away.
And there's another update like the next day. I've spoken with a police officer who's friend of a friend, and I shared all the details and background. He's thinking it would be best to have a cop pull Tom for the license plate the next time he leaves the neighborhood. While they're dealing with the mismatched plates, another officer will go to the house to perform a welfare check. I'm now waiting on an official callback to confirm all and take my statements on record. We'll keep you all posted. And they have not posted again. That update was from September 1st.
Okay. I wonder what happened.
Me too.
That's what I would have done. I would have done exactly what happened. I would have called in the plates, because I would think maybe it's drug related, if anything, and then you can just say, oh, he's just a drug dealer, like whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really strange. So
It's like, are you are you being cautious and just possibly looking out for somebody because you're taking notice, or are you being nosy? I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't think I don't think what she was
You
I
don't
don't
think it
think
was being nosy?
what she was witnessing isn't being nosy. That's odd. That's
It
odd
is, it is
behavior.
odd. Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not like when I look at your neighbor and he's out there with his arm in a sling with his RC cars flying around in the road, and I have to slam on my brakes. That's being nosy. Like, what's that guy doing? You know what I mean?
absolutely. I'm
It's
looking to see if there's anything else here.
it's surely different.
Mm, I don't see anything. I wish we had an update on this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Ah, okay. Dang it. I'm sorry there's no update. That's disappointing. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, I love glitches in the Matrix. It fascinates me. So I found a glitch in the Matrix. And this
Yes.
one is called Boyfriend and I Lost an Entire Day. In 2014, I was living with my then boyfriend and working debt collections for a pretty well-known company. I hated the job and had begun feeling like my day-to-day life was really mundane. Because we had access to people's sensitive information, full social security numbers, addresses, etc., we weren't allowed to even bring our phones into the building. Once a month, they would put us on required overtime when we were working on accounts that were getting ready to go into the next phase of collections. I worked 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday and was scheduled 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday. I got home from work Monday night and watched Netflix with my boyfriend until I fell asleep. Woke up the next day to pee, and when I checked the time, it was 8:13. I assumed I forgot to set an alarm, freaked out for a minute, and rushed to get ready for work. I pulled into the parking lot at 8:56 and was feeling pretty good about still making it to work on time. As I was clocking in, my coworker Anna stopped me and asked, "Where were you yesterday?" I said, here." She insisted I wasn't, which I thought was really weird because I just brushed it off, clocked in, and went to my desk. Anna and I were pretty close as far as coworkers go. We bitched about the job throughout the workday and texted, engaged with each other on social media outside of work daily. About 20 minutes into my shift, I glanced at the calendar on my computer and it was showing that it was Wednesday. I genuinely thought Anna was playing a weird prank on me and had messed with my computer settings since she asked where I was when she knew full well I was there yesterday. On my lunch break, I went out to my car as I did every shift. When I turned my phone on, it also said it was Wednesday. I started panicking and called my boyfriend. He works second shift and I hadn't yet gone into work, and he hasn't yet gone into work, but looked at his phone and had the same realization and also started freaking out. Now, the really weird thing is, no one in either of our lives seemed to notice except Anna. I wasn't super hungry or thirsty as I assumed I would be if I haven't consumed anything for an entire day. We both were heavy smokers at the time, but neither of us woke up feeling like we needed a cigarette. We lived with my boyfriend's two brothers and we had two dogs. One was an elderly dog and the other was just a puppy, so they both required pretty frequent trips outside. Our room was in the basement and we had a baby gate at the top of the stairs to keep them from roaming the house while we were sleeping. Neither of the dogs had an accident in our room, nor did they eat as though they haven't been fed in 24 hours. I asked both of his brothers, and they hadn't let the dogs out or fed them Tuesday. I am really close with my mom, and we talk on the phone on my way to and from work every day. Yet she didn't mention anything about not talking to me for an entire day. Neither of us were written up for no call, no show on a shift, or even spoken to by management about the missed shift. Neither of us had any missed calls or texts from Tuesday. To this day, I have no reasonable explanation for what happened that caused us to lose an entire day. If I had been living alone, I would have chalked it up to somehow being so exhausted, or maybe having a weird 24-hour illness, or something that made me sleep through an entire day. But the fact that both of us experienced the same thing with no consequences made it even weirder. I think about this regularly, and no one I've spoken to about it can come up with any plausible either. It feels as though we went to sleep Monday, ceased to exist in this reality on Tuesday, and then resumed normal life on Wednesday.
That's crazy.
No, I don't even
I
know
don't
what to
know.
think.
I don't know. I used to work third shift and that used to screw me up a little bit. But I
Oh
mean,
my God, I bet.
you know, I don't know. That's how do you miss a day? How do two people like how do you miss a day?
Somebody said something interesting. They said, "Was Tuesday on your paycheck?"
Oh, yeah.
And they said, "It was not."
It was not on the paycheck. So there's no recollection or record that they skipped that shift, but it was not on the paycheck to begin with. That's
Mhm.
weird.
Somebody said, "I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens, man."
It could very well be.
That
That's
is
crazy.
so weird.
That's crazy.
I'm seeing if they say anything else.
I've
Somebody
never
said
had,
something about being on autopilot, but
yeah,
mm,
just in routine. But then she didn't go to work. So somebody would have alerted to the fact that if I'm not at work by 9 o'clock in the morning, somebody's calling me. You know what I mean? They're
yeah.
gonna know that I'm not there.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know?
work usually hunts you down no matter where
Yeah,
you work. Like, where are you?
yeah.
I don't know. Somebody said, "Have you tried hypnosis or regression?" And she said, "I've not. I'm honestly a bit scared too." I just
But
don't
for
know.
two people to do that, that's strange.
That is. It's like they hop timelines or something.
Yeah.
Glitches are interesting.
Do you get
Very
deja vu
interesting.
ever?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or dream things that happen.
Oh, yes. We've had our
Yeah.
discussions about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That
And
is
I
so interesting.
deja vu to me is interesting because it's like this has happened. I know, and then you know what's going to happen even still. Like it'll be like I know this, and then this
Yep.
is going to happen. Then it does, and you're like, oh my god.
Yep.
But that's the only like matrixy thing I can think of.
I swear I talked about this before on the podcast. I swear I saw an airplane still. I swear to God. Did you hear that
Yeah,
episode?
I
Yeah.
did.
I swear to God, Rob thinks I am off my rocker. Okay. But I'm telling you, it was
He had
weird.
an explanation for it though. I can't remember what it was, but he explained it.
He did, but it doesn't mean I liked it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no, leave my
Exactly.
glitch alone. It was fascinating, and it's a glitch. Now, I like this other subreddit too called Petty Revenge because who doesn't like some petty revenge? I mean, deep down, we do. I don't care if you say you don't, we all do.
Let's see if we can make it better.
And I have a couple of these, but this one says I got my creepy professor fired.
Oh.
Yeah. It took me a while to write this because I'm still coming to terms with all of this. I originally posted this in a different subreddit, but they told me this would be a better place for it. I went to a very small college. In one of my courses, we were like 20 students and the professor, let's call him Jim. Jim was a veteran who taught film in his spare time. He was around 65 when I started at 18. On my third week, he called me something in English that can only be equated to the word sexy in front of the entire class twice.
Oh.
He had it out for me since because I never let a man talk to me and about me in a way, and I reported him, though nothing came of it. After a holiday break, Jim asked how we were, and I honestly replied, not that great, because my grandparents had just gotten divorced. This creep literally punched my table with both his hands and told me flat out, "Oh, you just love to complain, don't you?" I had many more encounters with Jim. The other students didn't care about him besides the one student who told him to stay away from me, but Jim is an idiot, so of course he didn't. Two important things to note. Once Jim came to one of my other classes and touched not only my shoulders, but also four other students, male and female, who confided in me that they felt uneasy. He thought his behavior was okay, which was only solidified by the second thing. Apparently, this wasn't even Jim at his worst, since a former student that got in touch with me revealed that he said worse things before, like telling other 19-year-old students that she just needed that she just needed dick and asking about another sex life. His course is taught so that in the first year you take 2 trimesters and this is the same for your second year. It is a mandatory course that only he teaches, so they couldn't really do anything about it. So I verified that this was my last class with him for my first year and went off on him. I told him that he won't get away with what he's been saying to me and others, and that I hope he won't come back next year. He called me insane and stormed off to the headmistress's office. He made a complaint about me. I filed a counter complaint that ended up with him being not guilty and them blaming me for seducing him. I
Mm.
was livid. Luckily, I managed to escape classes with him for the most part by altering my schedule. I was given the opportunity to sit with my laptop and headphones in his class, which he tried to fail me for, but was denied since it was the agreement he signed on. But I wasn't satisfied, so I kept silent until he slipped up. My boyfriend was in the same college as me and in the same program. We had this event and wasn't feeling well, so we went home early. Later that day, he received a phone call that I immediately felt the need to record. Jim, of all, told my boyfriend that I'm not five and that I could have walked home. I couldn't. I lived with him at the time and just intervened in our relationship. Nothing new, really. But then he said to him, I hope you're thinking of creative solutions in case your girlfriend decides to drop out. I had never planned on doing so. So I emailed the headmistress and sent her the recording. Nothing came of it until the end of the year. During the end of the year, they announced that Jim had decided to quit his job. Later, I learned that he was fired, and my recording was the tip of the iceberg. Last I heard, he was begging for his job back and trying to hold on to technicalities. Fuck you, Jim. Was it?
So I've been in this situation before on both ends of it with the same person. So it was a professor and it was actually the dean of the college.
Oh,
And I was a coworker. I was an adjunct at the time. And he was doing these things to me. but I had Dean at the time was a fiance of mine. And I would come home and I'd say, Dean, these things are happening. And you remember how we were just talking about, is it creepy or is it normal? And I'm just like taking things the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have these conversations, and Dean's like, no, I definitely don't think this is right. And I don't want to give too much information because it is local to here.
Hmm.
But it ended up escalating into my students, and I could see them. Like I would watch them in class, and when he would come by, they would kind of go like this. I'm like, what is going on? So, I always had an open door where I was, and these ladies would come in, and they'd be anywhere from 19 to my age, pretty much. And they'd come in and say, hey, Miss Bessie, can I talk to you about something? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they would tell me the same things. And I was like, are you kidding me? So finally, by the third student who came, I mean, mind you, it wasn't anything really out of the ordinary. We were just kind of saying, this isn't right. Like this can't be right.
Right.
So finally, I said, I need you all to come with me to the dean, the over everybody. I said, because we need to file a complaint. It was so hard to do that, Nyoka. It was
I bet
so
it
hard.
is.
It took 3 years later and a girl getting stalked and fearing for her life before they let him go. And it's so hard because how do you prove it? How do you now we have videos and things like that, like everybody's got their
Yeah.
cameras out and recording stuff, so that's better, but it was so hard. It was so hard.
Especially from a position of authority like that.
Right. And I thought because I had experienced it too, that they would listen, and not saying that they shouldn't listen to a student. By all means, they should. But three people coming before you and an adjunct? Come on, that's a
Yeah.
problem.
That is a huge problem. What happened? Did he get fired or anything?
He ended up getting fired, and you will never believe it.
What?
But he resurfaced again. And my background is in what I used to teach. And
Yeah.
I was asked if I wanted to teach under him again in a
No.
different school. Yes. And I said,
No.
no, you know what? My past 6 years has been in public policy. I'm okay just staying in this department.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I know. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. But I'm happy where I am, and there's no issues, and I'm not in his department, so it's fine.
Yeah, he would be awful to be next to.
Oh,
I can't imagine going through that and then he's like, "Hey, come work for me."
no,
No. No,
no, thank
thanks.
you. But yeah,
Um,
it was really hard, and I do feel for this story because I
yeah.
understand how hard it is.
Yeah, it's very unprofessional and stop being a douche. And someone said petty revenge is best served with a recording.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely. And I don't think anything she did was petty. You know what I mean?
I
Like
don't think so either.
I don't think anything she did. Him, on the other hand, I mean,
Mm-mm.
trying to say that she seduced him and all this, get out of town. Because if that's happening in your class, you need to report that too on your end to cover your butt. Like that, no, that's not how that works.
I agree. I agree. I think what we'll do is we'll read one more for this episode. And then whoever's a Patreon member, we're gonna switch to Patreon.
Okay.
And I got four stories for that
Okay.
with another petty revenge that I think's better than this one. Like way
Sounds good.
better. Like disgusting, probably.
Awesome.
Stay tuned. Okay, so for this last story, let's see what category. Oh, this is under dreams because I'm also obsessed with dreams and what they mean. And the title is Murder. I'm really freaked out by my dream. I was talking to some random person yesterday. I don't know, and I can't remember why. I just remember that he had to die in my head. I
Ooh.
injected some kind of thing in him to make him fall asleep, and then I put sand in a plastic bag and tied it around his head and dragged him into my room and put him in my closet. I left him there for 2 days. Then he woke up so freaked out and started beating him up, and then he almost passed out, but said something to make me let him go. I don't like that I had a dream like that, and it really scares me that I could even do something like that in a dream. Should I get help or something? I'm freaked out. I told myself, and wait, I told my boyfriend, and he said it definitely made him feel odd. I have a lot of dreams where people or things are trying to murder me or chase me, but I've never been the person doing that. That's it. That's all they said. I don't think I've ever murdered anybody in my dreams. In real life, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I I don't think I ever had. I mean, I've saved myself or others, but I
hmm
don't think I can say that I have ever had anything like that.
No,
Ever.
I can't even relate to it.
No.
That has to be weird.
Yes.
And like when you dream, you're like, for the most part, I don't think you see yourself. You are like first person. I don't know. Anyways, I'm getting in too deep. Somebody said the characters in your dreams are part of your own psyche. The
Hmm.
dreams about being chased by people trying to hurt you are usually related to some sort of anxiety. This dream could perhaps be pointing to how you're feeling about a particular part of yourself you don't like and have to hide.
That makes sense because it is your subconscious. Like that is part of you. But I don't know. I think I'd be talking to a shrink at that point in time. I'd be like, "Hey, I had this dream. What do you think about this?"
Somebody said, I once dreamt that I got really drunk and killed 3 to 5 cows and buried them in my back garden. Eventually, I had to confess because there was a bit of a cow sticking out of the ground.
That's more relatable. I mean, I've had weird dreams where I've had to, I don't know, but never have I like, I mean, that's pretty graphic.
People dream this stuff. There's more comments about stuff
Do
like
it.
this.
Let's hear it.
Somebody said, I had a dream I killed a girl and buried the body in the woods, but in the dream, it had happened years ago when I was living in another town. Really messed me up for a while, but after some time, I just became glad I'm not that type of person. Somebody said that they often dream that they've killed someone and had to hide the body. I can't make any assumptions about you, but in my case, I think it's because I was feeling guilty about everything and feel I need to hide everything about myself to avoid the consequences. So you should probably look into things you might be feeling guilty about.
And shame. I could see shame being a part of that too. Fear, even. Fear
Yes.
could do that.
Seeing if there's anything else here. The other night, I dreamt I stabbed someone with a spoon. Every time it went into the person's flesh, it made dents like an ice cream scoop does to ice cream. My dreams never make any sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Now we're
did
gonna
have
have a
one.
dream that we're murdering somebody
I
tonight
know.
because we're talking about this.
I did have a dream I had a baby and like I would leave it. Like I would just leave it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had that dream. And I didn't think anything about leaving it either. Like it would just be on the bed and I would just leave and go downstairs, a baby. Like what was I doing? And Lucy, my daughter, she came up and she'd be like, "Mom, the baby, you need to go check on the baby." She would constantly remind me to check on the baby, but I wouldn't. It was like I wasn't even thinking that I had a kid. It was weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. And I woke
But
up like mad at myself. Like, what were you thinking?
you ignored, I ignored
Don't
my
leave
own
a
kid.
baby.
I had a dream that my teeth were falling out the other night. I hate that dream. Do you dream
Oh,
that?
yeah,
That your
that
teeth are
one. Your
falling out?
hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate
Yep.
that. So we're going to end the episode here. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to continue listening, switch over to the Patreon. If you're not a member, you can be for as little as $3 a month. And there's like 36. This would be like the 36th episode on that platform. That's only for that little community. And there's a bunch of stuff on there. But, anyways, we're going to switch over right now. Thank you. Thanks for coming on too, Megan.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. It was fun.
If you want to do it again, let me know. And
I
I
do.
have the Mothman story coming up if
Let's do it.
you want to
Let's do
chat
it.
about that.
I got a guy for you for that one.
Let's do it.
An
We can have
active paranormal investigator who would be happy to help.
really?
Yes.
Do you think he would Zoom with us? Like
I
all
absolutely positively could guarantee he would.
oh, see what
I
days and
tagged
times
him.
work for him and we'll set it up.
Okay, I tagged him in your post.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw you tag somebody.
He's tagged. I can reach out to him and tell him because I'm telling you, this is what he does for a living. He goes out and investigates all of these things.
Ooh, I would love that. We
Yeah.
should definitely have him on. So you guys, um, look forward to that one. That would be the next time because I have to keep this spooky season longer. I have to. This I don't know where the month went. It's went too fast. But anyways. All right, so switching over.